Hallmark Movies and Mysteries is either mystery or misery. So I think that's accurate. Hey everybody, welcome to Girls Gone Hallmark, a Hallmark review podcast. I'm Megan and I'm a lifelong Hallmark movie fan.
I'm Wendy and I'm no fun because you should never, ever release balloons into the sky. Ever.
In my notes too.
Okay, good.
Today we're discussing Unexpected Grace, which originally aired on March 12th on the Hallmark Movies and Mysteries channel. If you'd like to connect with us outside of the podcast, we'd love for you to follow us on Instagram, where we are both at Girls Gone Hallmark and at Megan and Wendy.
And we'd like to invite you to come join our exclusive private Facebook group, Girls Gone Hallmark. I'll leave a link in the show notes.
There's not a ton of new Hallmark news and notes because this is our second time hitting that Hallmark train this week.
Mm-hmm.
But I do have some ratings information. Game of Love, which we reviewed earlier this week, was the 7th most watched cable program on Saturday night with 1.4 million viewers. Behind only sports, it is college basketball on college basketball on college basketball right now.
Yeah.
Wow, that's exciting. That's good news. I'm thinking that Unexpected Grace maybe didn't do that well because the Oscars were up against it. You know, I don't know how many people are watching the Oscars these days, but I'm going to say it's probably more than this movie, perhaps.
Indeed.
Or not. I don't know. I'm curious to see when that comes out.
Well, actually, it is out. Hold on.
Oh, tell me.
You bring up a good point. I'm curious how many people were watching the Oscars. I have that right here. So the Oscars had 18 million viewers.
Wow.
Which seems like a lot. It was the number one show on Sunday night, although technically it falls into a different comparison category because that's network programming and we're talking about cable programming.
Oh, you're right. Yes, yes.
But again, that is where the lion's share of television viewers were on Sunday night. Unexpected Grace didn't do very well. It had about 600,000 viewers. And what I would like to do is hold out for the Live Plus 3 ratings because I think it's going to do well as people are catching up post-Oscars viewing.
I hope so. And I hope that they hear this podcast and go, oh, I need to watch that movie.
Yeah. We have a new movie being teased for Hallmark Movies and Mysteries starring one Miss Jodie Sweetin.
Oh, really?
She teased that she is working on a mystery that will be out this spring. She did not name a title, but said it's based on the Jane Da Silva mysteries. Jane Da Silva is a character in 4 novels from the 90s written by K.K. Beck.
I don't know anything about those.
Neither do I.
0 things.
No, they're quiet little novels, I think, but I am excited for a Jodie Sweetin mystery franchise. And I say franchise, we don't actually know that, but often we know we have 4 books to build off of. So I think ultimately their goal is to build these out into a franchise.
And spring, I'm guessing we're going to see that any time between now and May.
It's got to be soon.
Yeah, I would think.
We already have all of our April movies announced. So let's say probably May.
Okay.
And that's all I got for Hallmark news and notes.
Yay, thank you.
You are welcome. Ready for a synopsis?
I am. When lonely young Grace finds a note from a schoolgirl looking for a friend, she excitedly writes back, setting off a chain of events that ultimately changes the lives of 3 people. Stars Erica Durance and Michael Rady.
I want to tell you that I have been in my mind all this time. Michael Rady's been in 10 Hallmark movies. This is his 10th. And in my mind, I have been conflating him with actor Tom Cavanaugh because I was misremembering Michael Rady in a show. And I even this morning Googled Michael Rady bowling alley show. No. That show was called Ed. It starred Tom Cavanaugh. We'll do a side-by-side for you.
Okay.
They're similar, but this entire time, I was like, he was in that bowling alley show with Claire Bowen that I really liked. No, he was not. I apologize. Michael Rady. He has been in quite a bit, though, including Timeless, the rebooted Melrose Place, Unreal, Wendy's favorite movie and New Year's resolution on the Hallmark Channel.
Woof. You know, he also played the Greek hottie in the 2005 Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants.
Oh, did he? I saw that he was in there. I didn't realize who he was.
Yeah. Isn't that funny?
He was also in the TV show Greek.
Yeah. Yes. I mean, he has a pretty deep resume.
He really does. He does.
I gotta say, Jane the Virgin was in there too. And,
I loved that show.
Yeah. Isn't that wild?
Yeah.
Also, this starred Erica Durance. As I said before, she plays grieving mom Noelle. She was last seen in We Need a Little Christmas, Color My World with Love, and North to Home, all in 2022. Plus, she was in Lifetime's Girl in the Shed, The Kidnapping of Abby Hernandez, which I watched. She played the mom in that movie. I did.
Don't they talk about that a lot on our favorite radio show, Jeff Lewis Live?
They do. They talk about the Girl in the Shed franchise because I think one of their like regular guests either directs or writes or
she's a
stars in.
Lifetime director.
Yeah. So anyway,
this reminded me that you and I still need to watch North to Home because it stars Erica Durance and Kimberly Sustad. I feel like we're really missing out on that movie.
I know. I need to like Google the next time that airs, put it in my friendly app, something.
Yeah.
Something.
Hey, the story credit for this movie goes to Eugenia Zuckerman, who, by the way, is 79 years old, and this is her first writing credit. So you guys, do not give up.
Isn't that wild?
I loved that.
I was like, wait, and I had to take out my calculator and do some math. She had like co-written a book with her sister too, but has no film writing credits. Yeah. Isn't that so cool? The teleplay is written by Mark Hefty, who has 16 writing credits, including A Dickens of a Holiday, My Christmas Family Tree, Beverly Hills Wedding. I like 2 out of 3 of those movies. I enjoy his writing. I have to go back and watch A Dickens of the Holiday. I'm sorry. Yes, I remember the first time I watched it, I didn't really love it, but I know a lot of people did. So it's on my list to watch again.
All opinions are valid.
Well, this is before like I realized how good of an actor Christopher Polaha is. So I just need to go back and watch it again.
Well, and to your credit, you did call out his acting in a positive way in that movie.
He was really good in this like monologue scene.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. This was directed by Linda Lisa Hayter. She has 9 directing credits, including 5 More Minutes, Right in Front of Me, and Christmas in Evergreen, Bells Are Ringing.
And she also directed a Lifetime movie called Dirty Little Secrets, starring Melissa Joan Hart. I haven't seen it, but it's about hoarding, and I was like, that seems like something I would like to watch.
Go on your watch list.
The picture is like the like movie poster picture is like Melissa Joan Hart and like a daughter, and in the background is just like stacks and stacks of stuff inside their house. I was like, oh yeah, I'm into it. Yeah, I gotta watch it. This was filmed in Vancouver, and it was reported to be negative 15 degrees Celsius or about 0 degrees Fahrenheit during the filming of this movie.
Yeah, real cold. They had the opposite problem. They had to make a movie filmed in winter look like it was filmed in spring.
Yeah, I guess that's the problem you have when you. I mean, our weather is so weird right now, so they should be making Christmas movies right now,
right?
Don't you think?
Seriously.
Anyway, one final thing too. Erica Tremblay plays daughter Grace. She has a uncredited role in the Tyler Hynes movie Always Amore.
Yeah, this is her 4th Hallmark movie. She was also in Perfect Match and Hope at Christmas.
Yeah, but she had to be young in those movies, right?
Are you ready for your first impression of this movie?
Sure, and it's a simple one. This movie wrecked me.
Same page. Mine is, I would like an apology from Hallmark for breaking my heart.
So sad. It was so sad. But it had a nice ending.
It had a lovely ending, and I think, you know, all the perspective in the world here. You and I are the mothers of teenagers, and we both have tween and teenage daughters, and this really hit me.
All right, let's talk about what you liked about it.
I think this is a really well done look at grief. It's kind of messy, and their behavior is imperfect, and that makes it kind of hard to watch. Not in the acting is bad way, but in this is making me feel things I don't really want to feel watching a Hallmark movie. This wasn't very escapist in many ways.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
but I think they did a nice job tackling grief in a lot of forms.
Well, you know what? To your point, there was a Christmas movie. It was called Our Italian Christmas Memories during the Christmas time. I don't think you saw it. It was on HM&M. It was definitely not an escapist movie. It was about the father of the family had dementia or Alzheimer's, and it was so heartbreaking. And I gotta say, I like realistic movies. I know people want to watch like movies and TV to like run away from their real lives, but I'm okay with a sprinkling of it.
Yeah, I agree.
So this movie was really like that for me too. I overall really enjoyed the story, and I was happy that these two families could come together in the wake of grief.
Yes. I think in this movie, the casting was spot on for me. I cannot think of another Hallmark acting pair that I would have rather have playing these roles. I think Erica Durance is the perfect grieving mother in this movie. And Michael Rady plays the single father role. I just think their roles are cast so well. The chemistry the two have together, it just works.
I agree. I thought they were excellent in these roles, especially Michael Rady. I just thought he was so good. I was like, I want him more on Hallmark Channel.
Yeah.
He's busy doing a lot of other stuff, but I'm like, can we get him in a movie more than like once every 3 years?
Right.
I liked him. And I want to say shout out to Erica Tremblay too, who nailed the annoyed teenager.
Yeah.
I know she's like 13 or 14, but like she nailed it. I was like, oh man, I've seen this face. I've heard these reactions in my own house from my own teenagers. She did a great job.
I think so too. Speaking of Michael Rady, I really liked the arc that they gave single dad Jack in this movie. You know, he started off, his daughter's having a hard time making friends, and he's like, oh, just be nice to people. And like, I could totally see my parents saying that, like, well, just be nice and you'll make friends. Like, come on, that's not good advice, Dad. And she's struggling in school, and he's like, oh, just try harder. And I kind of remember feeling like, you need to step up. Like, she needs you. And then he does, and he shows up and talks to their teacher and tries to figure out how to make it better. And I think we see he's figuring it out too. He's doing it on his own.
That's what I wrote. I really enjoyed the character of Jack because he didn't have it all figured out. He was like learning how to be a widow. He was learning how to date again, learning how to connect with this teenager. And like, it was just nice to watch somebody on TV who didn't have the whole parenting game down.
Yeah.
Like, I hear what you're saying about like, yes, he needed to step it up, and he does, which is great. But like, it's nice to see like a realistic view of parenting.
Yeah, he needed to be struggling. He was still figuring out life on his own. And I kind of like it all comes together towards the end when Noel, I don't know why I said it like that, Noel offers to have Grace stay with her when he goes off to Portland, and he goes real like daddy bear in that moment. She's like, she stays with me. Like he knows that he can do it.
Yeah, I enjoyed that. Hey, I gotta say, I love the vulnerability that David Attar, he played grieving dad Brian. When he comes out to the cabin and he's just like, I miss her. And I was like, oh my gosh. And what I really enjoy too is that we didn't have a movie where two exes hated each other. Like, it was just their circumstances. They had this daughter that died, and their marriage suffered because of that. A lot like what we've been talking about on the way home.
Yes.
But you didn't have like these two people who were like, there wasn't tension between them. It just was like, this is where we're at, and it sucks.
Like, their story is over, but they're still on the same team.
And then that makes way for like it easier for her to get together with Jack. We weren't like, oh, she's cheating on her husband, you know, like what we've been critical about like lately with some of the Hallmark movies.
She says, I don't regret my time with you. Like, we had something really special. It just lasted forever. That's a really beautiful look at marriage. Like, their marriage didn't fail. It just didn't last an entire lifetime.
That is the scene where they are in the kitchen and she thanks him for giving her Tony. And I was just like, OMG, I am a mess. It was so good.
Yeah.
So good. Anything else you liked?
That's it.
Okay, let's move on to what did you wish for?
Well, you already said it. My one wish is no balloon release. Sorry.
Yeah, well, in the did you see that? Like at the end, it sounds like they dub in a voiceover about biodegradable balloons.
Oh, I did some Googling. Are you ready to hear it?
Yeah, tell me, because I did too.
Well, biodegradable balloons are not really a real thing. Like there was a study in 1989 paid for by the balloon industry that ultimately came out and said like pieces of balloons that pop are as biodegradable as an oak leaf in 6 months. And then there's all these other groups that came out and were like, well, actually, first of all, they could never replicate that information. Second of all, even if that were true, an oak leaf does not pose a danger risk, a safety risk to an animal on the ground that's going to eat it and choke on it, while a slowly biodegrading balloon will. And most balloons are not 100% latex. They got all these other stuff in them. Anyway,
Chemicals, yeah. Yeah, and they usually have a ribbon attached to it.
Yes, great point. Also dangerous for animals.
Yes. Yeah.
So yes, there's not really a safe balloon release. I'm so sorry. I know people think they're lovely. They're not good for the environment.
I cringe every time I see somebody
too.
doing that on TV. I was like, don't do that.
Well, and it made me mad because I was like, this lovely thing, like this girl releasing this note to be found by someone in the future. It made me like, I don't like this part of it. It made me mad that I had to dislike that.
Yes, I 100% agree. Now, let me tell you, when I was in elementary school, second or third grade, we did something like this. We tied, like, it was like to find a pen pal and you released it into the balloon.
That kind of almost sounds familiar.
And I remember it being so awesome. And every time I see a balloon like in the bushes as a adult now, I always wonder, is there a note attached to that? But, there's usually not. But anyway, just don't do that, guys.
Just don't do it.
Okay, here is something I wish for.
Okay.
I wish I would have had a heads up on how Jack's wife died.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you, it's probably personal to me. No, it's not that. Like, as a breast cancer survivor myself with a teenage daughter, all of it hits a little close to home.
Yeah.
I don't like to be blindsided by cancer storylines. And this is on nobody's radar who's never had cancer. You know what I mean?
Sure.
I will tell you, there are tons and tons of articles and lists on the internet. It says, skip these movies if you've are dealing with breast cancer and you don't want to see like a breast cancer storyline.
Yeah.
So I just wish I could have had a little bit of a heads up, but it was fine. It was fine. It just was, for me.
Yeah. I don't think that it's, well, to put it another way, I think it might be a nice thing to consider in media going forward, just throwing a trigger warning on there. Like books are starting to do that a lot now. Just really quick. I mean, we get it for some extreme things. Like we'll get it for like sexual violence or depictions of self-harm. But maybe just these are the things that might make this movie not for you. Just real quick on screen.
Oh my gosh. Can you imagine like...
I know. The Hallmark crowd's going to come for us.
They would just be like, they're so woke. Even though that's a terrible description, but you know what I mean.
I do.
Okay. What else I wished for is that Noelle, she needed to be straight up honest with Grace from go that Tony had passed. The whole communication between the two of them and Grace, not realizing that she wasn't communicating with another teenager was unfair, I thought. I did love how Noelle's coworker was like, nope, you need to fix this right now. Though she didn't really. Not in that, when she was writing that email that he was like, nope, you need to write it now. It still wasn't actually very clear.
Right. She tries to end the relationship without giving her all of the information.
Yes, exactly. I was like, that's mean. Poor Grace is being catfished.
Oh no. I thought about this a lot too, and I agree with you. I wish Grace had all of the information because I hate being in the dark. I hate finding out that other people knew things that I didn't know and they knew that I didn't know them. And even though there was no harm meant in this interaction, I think she was maybe trying to protect Grace as much as she was trying to keep herself from having to say those things out loud. I think part of it speaks a little bit to the messiness of this whole thing. Like, no one's behavior in this was perfect. But yeah, I didn't like Grace kind of being in the dark that whole time.
Yeah. That's all I had. That's all I wished for.
What about, did you see that?
Okay, I have a couple.
Okay, let's hear it.
Now, you would only know this if you watch, I'm not saying you, I'm saying to the listener, if you watched both movies this week, 2 movies with a character named Audrey.
Oh.
We had Jack's like potential dating lady. Her name was Audrey in this movie. And then Audrey was the main character in Game of Love.
That's a funny lineup.
Another scene when they were, the weather was not helping them when they were trying to get the bubbles to go across the lake, and they were like blowing the opposite way. I was like, what can you do though? Like, it just is what it is. I know, but
where the wind is blowing.
I saw a photo though, like of a pulled back scene, and it was just snow cover, snow everywhere. So
they're like, make it work, people.
Yeah, exactly. And finally, for me, when Grace is trying out for the basketball team, and she's just throwing brick after brick after brick. And then the dad, no, Jack, you don't stand up and be like, I'll give you $40 if you can, like, whatever. Like, I would, no, my daughter would kill me.
Right.
Who plays basketball. She would
ground to swallow her whole.
Totally. But then, like, Grace is supposed to be like this awesome defender. And nope, that's not how you play defense in basketball. It was not great.
She just like smacks it out of their hand.
It was not great. Girl, you got to put your hands up. You got to put them out wide. Anyway, that's all. That's all I got.
I love it. All right, let's rate Unexpected Grace.
You go first.
I gave it 4.5 stars. It was half a star for the terrible cheesy jokes that I get were part of their characterization, but woof.
I liked those jokes. You know what? I had forgotten all about him until you just brought him up right now when he was like, Chardonnay? No, my name's Jack. Yeah, I loved it. I love a good dad joke like that. Wow, I'm surprised with the 4.5 stars. I gave it 4 stars. I thought it was a solid, good, watchable, great movie. There was nothing I didn't really like about it. So maybe 4 stars is too low. I don't know.
I hear you. I loved this movie. I thought it was great.
And let me see, why was it on Hallmark Movies and Mysteries? This should have been on the main channel.
Well, I was reading a review that said Hallmark Movies and Mysteries is either mystery or misery. So I think that's accurate.
That's funny.
Funny. We have another 2-movie week next week, and it's a big hitter. We've got Tyler Hynes, A Picture of Her, and The Cases of Mystery Lane, starring Paul Campbell. Big week coming up, friends. Thanks for listening to this episode of Girls Gone Hallmark. If you like these episodes, we love your 5-star ratings and reviews. Hop into your Apple Podcast app and leave us a rating and a review, and we'll be back next week. Bye.
Bye.